Yes, hello. I'd like to report a hate crime. The ginger man made my fictional girlfriend kill my fictional boyfriend, and I am upset about it. It feels a little disingenuous to be making a full-blown critique of what has yet to be an unfinished work. It's kind of like getting halfway through a novel and then writing out your review. But I had a lot of thoughts and feelings about the death of Buddy Dawn, so here we are. And the phrase I keep coming back to attempt to put it in the simplest terms why I think the killing of Buddy Dawn is potentially a mistake is, I think it makes it too easy to hate the rat grinders. Which I believe stems from this philosophy Brennan has towards storytelling.
If you're going to depict people that are not good, you don't do any favors to yourself by being kind of a polemicist.
Which, to be fair, has led to the creation of some fantastic villains. I just thought the rat grinders were going to be antagonists. Real quick to define my terms, a antagonist is simply a force or person who stands in opposition to our protagonist. It does not necessarily come with a moral dispersion, whereas a villain is just evil. For example, Roy Batty from Blade Runner is an antagonist. His goals are simply the right to be remembered, and our protagonist is a replicant hunter, so conflict happens. Whereas a villain would be any bully ever written by Stephen King, or the eponymous It, who is a literal cosmic force of evil. Now, being a villain doesn't necessarily necessitate being one note or being unsympathetic. Real quick, narrative sympathy simply means understanding why a character is the way they are. You can understand the motivations of D20 villains. Goldenrod is a dragon. He wants to amass a horde and not be cursed to be a vice principal for the rest of eternity. Robert Moses simply wants to spread his dream of prosperity. And the evil stepmother is morally correct. I'm making the joke. Just because we can share a philosophical outlook, that doesn't negate the fact that the story took every opportunity to remind us unambiguously that the evil stepmother is in fact a monster. My point being that there is no moral ambiguity in defeating a villain. It is a net positive and you feel good when it happens. And it's not a problem to have villains. I am, after all, a wrestling fan. I just thought the rat grinders were being set up to be antagonists, which I thought would have been beneficial in twofold. One, when you take a step back from the fact that the bad kids are the protagonists and the ones we've been following for years, it's very easy to understand why the rat grinders wouldn't like these kids. Never forget that Fabian's introduction to all of his peers was this.
I'm Fabian Seacaster, son of Bill Seacaster, and I'm here to be great.
Yeah, what a pompous, dandy little nepo baby. And the rat grinders never see the part where Fabian gets to grow. This is their perception of him. If I went to the Eggford Adventuring Academy, I'd probably hate this kid. And two, a lot of the thematic ground junior year deals with is classic tried and true footsteps that YA fiction often takes. Namely, growing along with you, the reader, and acknowledging that as you get older, the world becomes more morally complex. Relationships become harder to define, your social responsibilities and life become harder to manage, which is reflected in the downtime mechanic, or the fact that Kirsten and Tracker's relationship has become immensely difficult to navigate. Riz's potential relationship with the bad kids is starting to change.
I just don't want to see my son killing himself to get huge accolades for other people that call him the ball.
The world you thought was simple becomes complicated. So too, I thought this was going to be reflected in the antagonists for the season. Cause doesn't it just make a little bit of sense to want to take the air out of these 6 literal main characters? And it's not unreasonable to want structure in a literal school. The idea of the rat grinders as foils for the bad kids, the worst versions of themselves in freshman year, whilst also having legitimate gripes and coming into conflict for simply having a different approach to academics and life philosophy, was more interesting to me than just being, I don't know, a group of murder teens? And I say all of this with the enormous caveat that this is all coming dangerously close to a conversation of what I want versus what is effective. Because Dimension 20 is not simply a product for consumption or art ready to be analyzed, it's a game. The genre is actual play. A game being played by real people, DM Brennan and players the Intrepid Heroes. And generally, as someone who has DM'd before, when you are crafting your big bad for the season and you want your players to defeat them, you don't want them to leave that fight with feelings of moral ambiguity. You want to give your players a feeling of triumph, having overcome adversity, and generally, that feeling is far easier to install if the person they're super murdering at the end of the campaign is someone they don't have to feel bad about super murdering at the end of the campaign. And as Brennan has pointed out before in a clip I cannot find, the muscles you are flexing while DMing are not the muscles you are flexing while writing. The rules are different. So I don't know, man. I thought the Rat Grinders could have been more interesting than what it seems like we're heading towards. In a season that has yet to be over, I guess I gotta make a follow-up when Junior Year's finally over. I don't know, man. This one was unscripted, and endings are really hard. It's 3 a.m. and I'm in my closet. Thank you so much for watching. I haven't done an unscripted video in so long. If you want more D20 content, please let me know. I have a very long and ambitious idea for a Figure Out Faith video that I would definitely need support on Patreon for. That one is an endeavor. But please let me know what you think. This video has a lot of potential to become obsolete in the near future. We'll see how it goes, and I just wanted something a little easier than the big project I currently have going on. That Cyberpunk video, it's in the works. I've recorded it and I've started editing it. I'm just really creatively burned, so something that I didn't have to write and that was shorter was an easier commitment to make. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please do the YouTube things, and also if you have thoughts about the Rat Grinders, please leave them down in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Thank you again. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please like, share, and subscribe!